Good morning. It is the week of July 15th, and we're starting out beside the greenhouse as usual for the garden journal. Lots of things blooming. It's the high time in the garden for daisies. Some already need to be trimmed back. See this one right here? I'll cut it back, and that will promote more blooms on that so it keeps blooming. My zinnias look like they will be flowering soon. They're nice and healthy and thick and big. More things along the wall here. I've got some echinacea, some kind of ratty looking hollyhocks, but they're still blooming pretty. I never did get rid of the rest, and my drumstick alliums. Those are really pretty. The hummingbirds really love those. And this is a black-eyed Susan in a pot, and I need to transfer it. This is a pot full of hens and chicks, and I need to divide that out. I wanted to show you over here. Let me go back over here. I had a pumpkin. It's started in that crevice. I don't know that it'll do well, but it's already got a blossom on it. And my sugar snap peas and basil. I put more sugar snap peas along with the basil, but it never did pop up, or if it did, the blue jays have been getting them. I have one bean that made it. I had a whole row of them. I just not have had success this year with those being able to get. I don't know if the birds are eating them, rotting in the ground, or what. My compost pile, I need to shovel some more chicken debris and put in there. This is where I tossed the iris that I dug up. I was letting them dry before I replanted them. Tomatoes. Here's a tomato on my obelisk. I got volunteer morning glories. I'm just letting them curl up. And one of the volunteer pumpkins you can see, and there's a little pumpkin down there. So we'll see what that one turns out to be. I had this tiger striped, the little white, I think they were called Baby Boo, and just a little orange pumpkin. So we'll see what I get on here. I think there's 2 or 3 pumpkins there. Which one will be what, I don't know. And I have a rose that I put right there in a pot. I had dug it up from another spot where it wasn't doing well, and it's really liked that pot. And I wanted to show you something. One second, let me get over there. Now this is at the base of my obelisk arbor, and I had showed you in a previous video or told you that I had planted some clematis, and I was afraid that they didn't make it. And there, I just been watering away, and there one has come up. Now it was 3 months ago that I planted them. So moral of the story is don't give up, even if you think something hasn't taken. Just keep watering, and you never know what'll happen. My poor lavender, I need to cut it back. It wants to lean over to get the sun, and it just flops onto the pathway. So here is the back or secret garden. The echinaceas are starting. I've already cut back most of the foxgloves, but that one stalk there, I wanted to collect the seed from it because I like that particular color. You can hear the blue jays making a bunch of racket. And the larkspur has been blooming away. A lot of it's gone to seed, and I've been trimming it back. Will rebloom. I have a dahlia or 2 planted in here. I had cut back that Canterbury bell hard. It was just out of control, so it had to go. The little ones, it'll put up new sprouts, but they won't be as tall and out of control. My bee balm, another hummingbird favorite, back there is blooming. The poppies are still going. I did cut them back, and hopefully they will rebloom. They have in the past for me. More larkspur. And I had pulled up a bunch of foxglove down there, and I see a bunch of volunteer morning glories, but I put cleome seeds in there, so I hope they take off. It's been super hot, but I've been trying to keep it watered so that they would sprout. And my Hyde Hall roses, along with the Aglaia daisy, they're in there with it. I'm kind of disturbing the birds back here with their bird bath. They're coming in to get some water, and they're like, "Go away, lady." Now here is my David Austin Hyde Hall roses. This is just 2 roses planted side by side, and they will bloom until first frost. So I absolutely love these because it's just continuous blooming, and I do deadhead. It looks like I need to come out here and trim back the ones that are done. So here's that lily that was so pretty. It looks like another one is going to bloom. That one had it was white with purple speckles. And the bird bath area where they were coming, a calibrachoa, that's a double. And my balsam impatient down there, my bench. And that's my little plant nursery there. You can see it gets a little bit of sun, but it's mostly in the shade, and this is where I put things that need to take off, and then I'll place them in the garden where I want them. Starting again from the other side of the secret garden, like you're going to walk towards the studio, I went along the outside border, and then I wanted to go along this pathway. Now I've cleared out a lot of the flowers that I didn't want in here. The California poppies are just nuts, so I need to finish pulling those out. This down here is elfin thyme, which is what I really want to take off between the paths. I've also had Corsican mint in here, which I really love the scent of when you step on it, but it seems like what I planted here last fall didn't make it. So I need to replant. This is Irish, or I don't know if it's Irish moss or the Scotch moss, but they're both very similar to each other. And I'm still pretty sure this is the elfin thyme. Yeah, that's the elfin thyme, not the Corsican mint. And that's the same. I need to pull out those poppies. And this is a Cosmos. Volunteer, it came kind of up in the pathway, but I didn't want to move it, and I can move my stones over a little bit, stepping stones. So that's up to the studio. Now we'll go along the front. Here's along the lower bed in my front garden, and that is pedal pusher, and it kind of didn't do well at first, and I need to deadhead it, but now the blooms are coming on better. So all these old spent blooms I need to get off of here, so it encourages more of the fresher, newer blooms. I think that one really got ravaged by that beetle I had. So now that beetle is kind of gone, it can thrive. And this is my Queen of Sweden David Austin rose, and it has the prettiest pink roses. These ones are kind of on the small side. They usually get pretty big, but that too had taken a beating with the late frost that we had this spring. This one is Tea Clipper, or maybe it's Strawberry Hill. I need to find the tag. I think I lost my Strawberry Hill or Tea Clipper, one or the other. I can't remember which one got put here. And this is a hardy geranium that was supposed to be a sterile one. Sterile means the seeds will not sprout if carried off by birds, and I have found seedlings of this everywhere. So I've been trying to get rid of it because I don't want them coming up everywhere willy-nilly. And this whole bed was filled with it at one time, and I've been pulling it out, trying to get rid of it. The creeping phlox that bloomed so pretty this spring, and it really had been thick with flowers. It was a really good year for it. I'm going to show you along my front porch. Those are the 2 clematis that were blooming, and there's my bobo hydrangeas, and they're doing pretty good. This one on the far left seems to be full of buds, and looks like it's going to open up pretty soon. And these 2, the middle one has a few, and the first one doesn't have any. And I don't know if that's because the far left one gets more sunlight. during the day or not, and I'll just have to wait and see. This is kind of a tricky spot because of the way the sun comes over the trees and then hits on the front for a little while. And here is my bed of dahlias. I've got several different varieties in here, and I can't wait for them to bloom. This one, these two down here, is Cafe au Lait, which is a really beautiful one, and I can't wait to see it bloom. These all had a tough start. When I put them out here, it turned cold again, and they really didn't look well. I thought I was going to lose them all, but they're coming back, and it looks like I need to weed in there again. The weeds have just gone crazy with this hot weather we've had this last week. And the other side of my walkway is larkspur and the pathway, which needs to be cleared again. Some volunteer black-eyed Susans. I didn't have any in this front bed, but they've sprouted and I've let them go. And this is kind of the messy bed still because I've got to pull everything out. And that's a really pretty coneflower, echinacea. More of that liatris I was telling you about. There's my white swan echinacea. That one's always really pretty. And it's, I've grown, this one is a seedling from the white swan. So that shows how when they cross-pollinate, they don't come true to the parent. And for me to get more of the white swan, I either have to dig it up and divide it, or I would have to buy seed of only white swan from someone who's kept it from cross-pollinating. But here is that rhododendron that did so beautiful. Some more daisies along here. This area I'm going to clear out, that oak tree there. And I think this is where I'm going to put my strawberry Sunday hydrangea. It gets really tall. It's supposed to get like 6 feet. So it'll block the view of my ugly driveway over there in front of the garage, which is my husband's storage tool area. I haven't parked in my driveway in 10 years. And here's the gaillardia. This is all volunteer in here. I just let it go. This stuff is tough, and it just blooms like crazy. There's another one of my Aglaia daisies. These iris all need to come out. These are volunteers, or like I just tossed some over here. And here's another gaillardia, different color, but it came from the same packet of seeds. And I think it's just really pretty next to the larkspur, the color contrast. Lots of work, and I'm not keeping up well, but I just enjoy the blooms and not let it bother me too much that it's a little crazy. And this is my strawberry Sunday hydrangea. It's still in its pot, but it's starting to put on flowers. I can't wait to see it. And there we have it.